Hi, I'm Steve. In this video, I'm going to share with you my take on Michael Tyler's International Cheeseboard project. This project is available for download on the Vectric website. I changed the files up a bit, but anyway, I'm just going to share with you what I did, how I did it, and hopefully I think this will make it maybe a little easier to clean and store than Michael's original project. We'll see. There's some concerns I've got about this. The epoxy inlays that I did on the top, I don't know how that's going to hold up on the long grain with seasonal expansion. Only time will tell. I also made a lot of mistakes, and you're going to see some of those in this video, and I'm going to show you, despite the fact that I had one board that I thought was a total disaster, I was able to recover it. I'll get to that somewhere in this video. I don't even have finish on this one, but I tried one with the wood lettering and then did clear epoxy pour. This one was a lot more work than the epoxy because you just have to sand all the fuzzies on the wood, and you don't get that with epoxy. So my first pour on this, what I'm going to do is fill the bottom of this and this with my first color. And this one only needs to come up about halfway. This one I will fill completely. I've completely sealed the surface with 2 coats of the vinyl sealer, and I'll be using this Jacquard Pearlex Sapphire Blue as the bottom color. And what I found, this oral syringe, it really helps a lot with minimizing bubbles. Because as you compress this, I'm going to start at this end, it tends to, it's like a pressure pot, it tends to collapse the bubbles. And you'll probably see some up in the syringe. This. Try to pour some. You'll see some bubbles here, I'm sure. And now it's time. It's been about 15 minutes or so, and you can see these micro bubbles showing up. So I'm going to hit this with a torch. Pop those bubbles. Okay, so the next step will be to mill out these pockets to a consistent depth such that I can get the text, the multi-layered text. piece is probably ruined, but that'll make it a good test piece. The reason I stopped it is because I noticed that I was not going completely through the gold down into the copper, so I'm just going to reestablish my, should keep the same machine settings, but I'm going to reestablish the depth in due time. Yeah, I'm deeper, but I'm not quite there yet, so.
Do what now?
Yeah, let's try this again. Well, I'm not sure what's going on here, but this is screwed up big time, and I don't know why. So what I'm going to do, because that was actually taking too deep of passes, and my orange has almost gone away, and I haven't even started the bottom text. So with this screw ups, I'm on to the next one. But I think what I'm going to do is just change my tool path. I'm going to go back to 0 reference and then combine the clearance tool so to minimize tool changes, and then go back and do the final cut with the 1/16 inch end mill. Okay, so after this colossal fail of this mistake over here, which I don't think I was going to recover from, and not fully understanding that I had actually, that first pass was a 2-pass cut, and I stopped it in the first pass because I didn't see orange, so then I readjusted the software and went way too deep. So I just stopped it. I'll use this for other testing. But this piece is pretty much toast. So what I've done, I've taken 180 grit sandpaper and scuffed up this, see? There's a big chunk that fell out of here somewhere. I don't know what it was, but before I go to the final cut, I think what I'm going to do is sand that bottom some. Try to get down to bare wood. this is affixed to the spool board. I'm just going to be sanding these. So I just thought I'd cover how things turned out. This is what I refer to as my disaster board. It was the very first one. It was made out of poplar, and it was intentionally intended to be a test board. And if I got a good product out of it, then I was okay with that. But what I ended up doing here was I had some issues. First, it started out with I didn't set my offset correctly, and it started milling these letters over here and put a big gouge there. I tried several things. First, I thought about just patching it with poplar, but there was no way I was going to match the grain. It was going to stick out like a sore thumb. This was my second option. My first was, oh, why don't I just pour some more gold and kind of have like a blob of honey pouring out. After I poured the gold epoxy, I knew it wouldn't look right, so I just decided to go for broke, patched it with a scrap of walnut, and it doesn't go full depth, it only goes part of the way, and it turned out well. The lettering here, I kind of had a loss of mind accident, and I should have checked my vectoric file, because I was using very fine bits. I was using an 1/8 inch and a 1/16 inch O-flute bits for this epoxy, and because they're so dull, particularly the 1/16 inch, I broke two of those. One, I inadvertently tapped it with a wrench and ended up breaking it, and the other broke during one of the cuts. But anyway, when I made the first pass on this, I was in the first pass, I didn't see the orange. I said, oh no, this isn't going deep enough. Not realizing that it was two passes. So I went in and increased the depth, and by the time I was done, the orange, or the hot copper, was almost gone. What I ended up doing on fixing this was repouring the hot copper, and then just going from there. Once that was done, then I was able to recover. I did not have to repour the gold though, so that was a good thing. But this is my least favorite board. I don't care for the patch too much. It's just not me. Okay, with the green, the issues I had with that was when I first started going this, I didn't go deep enough, and I'd used a vinyl sealer on some of these, and if you don't go deep enough, you don't mill that away. After you pour the clear, you see a cloudiness at the bottom. So I ended up having to remill the lettering again, just to get rid of the clear epoxy, going deeper, then repouring it. And I also, here, I lost the dot over the lowercase j, and I ended up CA gluing that back in place, but it turned out, surprisingly, the CA glue held. But anyway, this turned into an acceptable board, in my opinion. The red one, this is my favorite of all of them. The red one, again, I lost the dot over the lowercase j, and I couldn't find it, so I couldn't CA glue that back into place. So after I poured the clear epoxy, I just remilled a pocket for the dot over the j, and then repoured gold in it, and it turned out okay. The dot, I doubt if the camera's going to pick that up, but the dot actually kind of floats in the epoxy. There's nothing yet visible underneath it. And that also happened on this board, the blue one. This one also had some issues where the C broke loose. I ended up epoxying that back in place, and then I also lost the dot over the J. And I found that it's very important to get the heights of your two bits. I used an 1/8 inch and a 1/16 inch O-flute bit. For whatever reason, there's just ever so slight difference in these, and it's probably more visible on this than anything, but I don't know whether the camera will pick it up, but you kind of see a bit of a shadow line around the letters. It doesn't look great, but it doesn't look bad either, so it's okay. And then this one, I don't even have the, this I did out of a wood inlay. I did walnut overlaid with maple. I wasn't concerned about the cross grain here. This was a lot less waiting for cure time on the glue, because I used PVA glue, but it was a whole lot more work, because unlike the resin, the wood creates all kinds of fuzzies with the bit I was using, and it was just a lot of hand sanding work. I like the look of the wood, but it's a lot more work. So anyway, I would encourage you to try some of this. It was kind of an interesting experience for me, and I learned quite a few lessons. So anyway, those are some lessons I learned. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.